Hello, it's Ringo. It's been about 2 weeks since we've talked to our friends. I'm sitting with John and George and Paul. You know how I brought them back to life, the ones that are dead? By listening to Dudes with Brews with Ringo. We're drinking beer from the Great Lakes. I'm Ringo.
Great Lakes. I can't do it. Paul's not Paul. Cue the intro.
Dudes with Brews on a Porch presents to you another edition of Strange Brews, Conspiracies, Murder, Ghost Stories, Aliens. They're all coming to get you, my dears.
Paul is Paul.
Ringo brought Paul back from the dead.
Rob, in the middle of a tropical storm, there was a tropical storm in the southern part of the United States. It crept up to Wisconsin, and we're getting hit with it right now. That is a fact. We're looking out the window, and it's dripping, dripping, dripping. And
The wind's been brutal.
Yeah, bro. It's a tropical storm, man. That's really. This is like the third time in the recorded history of Wisconsin that this has gone down.
Well, we got hit by the edge of that hurricane 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That was one of them.
Maybe.
That wasn't a tropical storm, though. It was a
hurricane. Yeah, a little different.
Apparently, I can't talk.
But so you fought the elements and you trucked on over to my house.
It was hard
to drink some Great Lakes Brewing Company's Conway's Irish Ale. It's a malty Irish ale with a notably toasty flavor derived from lightly roasted malts.
Can you get hurricanes on the Great Lakes?
I mean, maybe. Anything's possible with old Ma Nature.
Yeah.
6.3 on the ABVs, 25 on the IBUs.
Is that high or low?
For IBUs?
Yeah.
Low. It's low. Higher on the alcohol, 6.3.
Is there 1,000 on the IBUs ever?
I've had over 100.
All right.
And it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, you're a sour guy.
It was, bitter.
Bitter. You're a bitter guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a bitter guy. That works. Yep.
Describe this ale. You can see a little red tint to it.
Red to it, yeah.
Tastes
it's a very pretty beer.
Smells like
a cherry oak.
Ireland. Yeah, cherry oak. Last time we drank a Scottish ale.
Is that a thing? Cherry oak?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, that's what this is. Like,
last time we drank a Scottish ale. Now we're drinking an Irish ale.
But it's from Great Lakes, or it's called Great Lakes?
Great Lakes Brewing. This is brewed in the
But what's it called?
Conway's Irish Ale.
Okay, I missed that.
That's what I said.
I don't listen when you do the intros, I guess.
Well, maybe you should. It wasn't me that's doing the intro.
I was focused.
Ringo.
I was focused on the fact that Paul came back to life.
Well, he's still alive.
No.
Him and Ringo are the only survivors.
Ringo is the only surviving original member.
Just drink the beer. See how it is.
Whatever. Smells good.
Tastes like Lucky Charms. Just kidding. It's got a beer flavor to it, a beer taste.
That's what I came up with in my head too. I was trying to jazz it up a little bit, but I was like, the first sip, my brain went, that's beer.
pretty much. It's got like a little caramely, maybe. No,
it's got a sweetness to it.
Yeah, it does. It's not bad. Very drinkable.
Yeah, it's very drinkable. But we'll find out more at the end of the episode.
Yeah, when we give our opinions, which will be.
Somebody at work the other day said, "I like the fact that you have a beer podcast that 99% of it isn't about beer."
I mean, how much can you possibly say about beer?
That's what I said. I said it's craft brews and casual conversations.
Yeah, we talk about the beer.
Yeah,
it's dudes
he wasn't being sarcastic. I think he likes the podcast.
It's not called Brews with Dudes. Like we're not 2 pints of beers drinking dudes.
Talking about dudes. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would that be like?
I don't know.
That'd be a strange brew.
It would be a strange brew, which we're going to get into in just a moment. It is a strange brew edition of the program. But first, some things have gone down since Rob and I last recorded, and we shouldn't ignore the current social injustice that's happening in the world. And I feel I can speak for both Rob and I when we say that we agree Black Lives Matter and we are against police brutality. We understand that Rob and I will most likely never understand the situation that they're in because, quite frankly, we're white. We're white dudes. We don't really have to worry about when we get pulled over what's going to happen because odds are nothing's going to happen. Whereas,
No, I've yelled at a cop before. I've yelled when a cop ran through a bar. Everybody, put your hands up! Don't shoot. And I don't think I don't think I could have gotten away with that.
right?
That's enough to get like in this climate. That's enough for a cop to if you're not me, if you're not I've been very said things that I know I got away with because of who I am. And it's unfortunate, I don't know. It's
crazy.
It's so hard to watch what's going on right now.
It is hard to watch. It's hard to watch the news. It's hard to watch the videos that are surfacing. I will say that I had a very proud moment in our city. They led a Black Lives Matter peaceful march and protest where the local county sheriffs were standing with them, protesting with them, and I was like, this is great. Everyone was polite. Everyone was peaceful. And they completed their march and now a local business owner said some racist bullshit and people are outside his facility and protesting him, and I think it's great.
Yeah, it's insane to me that anybody can look at what's going on and go and not be outraged,
Right.
And stand like how hard, like how can you say I don't it's so hard for me to even get like the police should never walk away from an altercation with a dead person lying there, no matter who they are, no matter what rate, and it happens to happen in
A lot of
a
times.
crazy amount more,
Right.
with minorities and black people's, but it's like it should never happen, and for anybody to like take the side of to say that somehow that guy deserved it or anybody deserved it, just
Right.
is. That's what, like, the reason, that's why I can't watch it. I get so flustered and dumbfounded, and it's like this has been happening for so long that it's just insane to me that you can watch like here. Cops stood with protesters and it was peaceful and
Right. But then there's another.
but then there's like other places where you see more brutality take place when it's like you're under the microscope and you still can't even keep it together. Like it's insane.
Yeah. So the system needs to change. It needs to be addressed. People need to be held accountable for murdering innocent people. You know, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's insane how what cops who do bad things can hide behind in
Right.
terms of their unions and the immunity and
And I have friends who are police officers, and I know they're good people, and they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't target an individual based on the color of the skin. But at the same time, you know, the police get away with this shit all the time, and it's fucking stupid and it's ridiculous. And we don't stand with it, and we stand with the people who are on the streets, who are preaching the good word and you know, protesting, marching, and promoting unity and solidarity. So we're with them, and we're with you.
I feel like as a maintenance person,
Yeah.
if I was working on a propane tank and I decided to hit it with a wrench, with a big wrench or a big hammer, and it blew up and killed some people that were right next to it, I don't feel like they'd be like, oh, he was just trying to do his job.
Right. Exactly.
I feel like I'd get in trouble for that.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that's anywhere close to, but that's like, because I'm in maintenance, that's the closest thing I can come up with where it's like, you know, a malicious intent. And
I think this will end it on this, but the fact that this has become so political is so fucking dumb. Just because there's an R or a D in front of somebody's name that makes them the enemy or your companion, really this breaks down to just being compassionate for other human beings and for human life and understanding that we all share the same space. We're one. It doesn't fucking matter the color of your skin. You don't deserve to be choked to death screaming for your dead mother and telling a person you can't fucking breathe, and they do nothing about it, and they crack jokes about it, and they think they're not, and for those people not to be held accountable is just outrageous. And because you know, whether you're Republican or Democrat, you should, if that were your kid, if that were your friend, if that was your family member, you wouldn't be fucking saying the dumb shit you're saying.
Yeah.
So stop. So that's it.
Yeah. All right. Let's
Get into the strangeness, the paranormal, if you will.
Yeah. So speaking of mermaids,
Yeah. So you have you have some knowledge on mermaids, Rob, and really, quite frankly, the only knowledge I have on mermaids are just I watched a documentary once after the series finale of Breaking Bad. AMC.
Is this the Robert what's his name, Pattinson or whatever documentary?
Maybe, I don't know. It was a documentary about
Dr. Robert whatever, and he was talking about how mermaids are real.
Yeah, but they had like footage and stuff like that, and
I think I saw that same thing.
Yeah, and it was interesting. Some of it, you know, it seemed a little fabricated, but mermaids to me, so I think mermaids are real in the sense that, but they're not like, it's not like Ariel from The Little Mermaid. It's not half person, bottom is fish.
Which did you know that
The bottom is legs and the top is fish.
Do you know that the book The Little Mermaid was much different?
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Than the Disney movie, where
what happened?
I looked this up in my. It came out like she got her tongue cut out, and then the prince guy like ended up burning her to death or something. I'm not 100% on that. But they had something to do with burning somebody.
Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit different.
So I think maybe what we should do here is let's talk about some lore.
Okay.
And then we'll move into to what's going on with mermaids nowadays.
Yeah, this is your cup of tea. You're really a big mermaid fan. You like how'd you get into mermaids? Were you watching a weird thing on the internet one time and something tickled your fancy, or you have a strange affliction to fish?
Honestly, it was that documentary.
Oh, really?
That got me looking into mermaids. They're very interesting. You know, and when you well, it's just like when you get into, when you start looking into, I don't know, I think it just came at the same time that I was looking into folklore about other things.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea of, you know, like what's in our oceans and what we found in our oceans, and then then seeing that documentary, it was like, holy cow. And then you know, it's like, so I wouldn't say it's something like I don't go. I mean, I had a couple mermaid paintings for a while. They got stolen, but
paintings.
Yeah, some artistic mermaid art.
Okay.
But I'm not somebody that like straight up like was like I wouldn't have tattooed a mermaid on me or anything like that.
Right. Okay.
But so all right. According to so and to start off, we'll go with Wikipedia. How does that sound?
I think I'm on the same thing.
Is this the first mermaid? Yeah. Okay. So you talk about that. I've got something else.
So obviously it's an aquatic creature. This says that specifically says upper body of a female human and the tail of a fish. It's been in folklore from all over the world, including Europe, Asia, and Africa. So that's it's just kind of just been ancient tales. Has to do with a goddess who turned herself into a mermaid out of shame, after she accidentally killed her human lover. So this is like her name was Artagus. Artagus.
Is this the Assyrian or Assyritic?
Targetist. Assyria.
Folklore?
Yeah.
It's from Assyria? Okay.
Assyria. So she weird. So she killed
what is
the
this, like
human lover.
1400 BC or something?
Dude, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, but that's where kind of where it derived from. They're sometimes associated with flood, storm, shipwrecks, drownings. So maybe this tropical storm has something to do with a mermaid. Is it like so being associated with it? Do they possess the power to do these things? Are they causing the tropical storms and hurricanes, or what? Or are they just like
I guess
They wash up because of a typhoon or something.
I think that they are just creatures that live in the sea that are probably were misunderstood back then, because a lot of this comes from like whaling stories or fishermen stories. I read an article about I want to say it was like a Scottish fisherman who claimed to see a mer creature, but it was like head of a human, body of a like crab, squid, fish. It was not.
Okay.
It's not what you would consider a mermaid by any means. And like as I am looking through stuff, like every culture that has a mermaid legend has a different idea of what a mermaid is. Like in Japan, they're not like beautiful women creatures that are half human, half fish. They're like they're monsters. They're giant fish with a human face and a monkey's mouth.
Oh, all right.
Sometimes they have horns and fangs. And they're like it's believed that if anyone who eats it's called a I don't know how to pronounce this. Niño?
Okay.
Niño?
Niño?
Niño.
That means boy in Spanish.
I don't know.
So if you eat a boy,
if you eat a niño, let's call it a niño.
Okay.
You'll have eternal youth and beauty. But here it says catching one often brings terrible storms and misfortune.
So they possess some sort of weird voodoo on them?
Apparently, well, I mean, I guess if you believe that they're a goddess or a god of the sea of sorts, like, or even children of a god or a goddess, like, then yeah, it's going to bring something. I don't know how, but that's Japan. So when you get into like the Orkney Islands and Scotland, they're called selkies.
Okay.
They're gentle creatures. And they live as seals while in the water and shed their skin to become human on land.
So like shapeshifters.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm reading right here. So there's been like tales of like sea people. It's called like 1001 Nights. And that they have the ability, so they're anatomically identical to landbound humans, differing only in their ability to breathe and live underwater. And they do interbreed with humans. And the children of such unions have the ability to live underwater as well. So that's crazy. So they're just like...
Well, do you know anything about like the aquatic ape theory?
No.
So like...
Aquatic apes theory.
There's a theory that back in when like the ice, like after an ice age, I don't know, this would be not like the ice age that we consider 12,000 years ago or whatever. We're talking probably millions of years ago. There was they figure that there was only different ape types or Homo sapiens or Homo what would they be?
Homo sapiens,
yeah, we're Homo sapiens right?
Something. They're like nomads.
Kind of, yeah. So it would like whatever the precursor to that would be, and then like as water levels rose, because apes can't swim, but as water levels rose, so some apes went inland.
You think that's why Godzilla always fought King Kong, because apes can't swim?
I don't know. I think that might be why he had a leg up on King Kong.
Okay, go on.
I don't know why they would fight over swimming.
Well, I'm just saying.
Like, do you think Godzilla was just like, you can't swim, yo?
Yeah, I'm gonna fight you.
I'm gonna fight you because you can't swim.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know whether that's I don't know the dynamic between apes and lizards. But they
can't swim.
They can't swim.
Okay.
So anyway, apes that went inland and found food inland and didn't mess with the water, they kept being apes. Then some apes waded out into the water up to chest height or whatever to fish and figure out how to fish. That's why they went from standing like with their shoulders forward and hunched to standing straight up.
All right. I like that.
And they would become us. Then other apes learned to swim and evolved into mermaids. Some people believe in the aquatic ape theory, but don't believe in the mermaid part. They just leave that off. But that's one theory as to where mermaids came from.
Well, you could say through evolution they developed gills.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's like that's why you have all three: humans, apes, and mermaids. But they all technically have a living relative that.
I like that theory.
But the more the more cultures you look at, even the Scottish Selkies, like they're not actually mermaids, but they are often put in the same category. Brazil has a theory or a theory. I'm sorry, a legend that it's whatever the name is. It translates to "maid of the sea," but it doesn't really It's not like what they consider a mermaid. Like a maid of the sea is not what we consider in Western culture to be a mermaid, like a beautiful half fish lady. But when you get into the evidence to that mermaids are real, that's when you get into the craziness of mermaids, in my opinion. Seeing people that are in submarines deep underwater see like hands on and finding tools way deep in the ocean. Like there's a difference between cities that were built and then water levels rose, and then finding like tools made out of coral and shells at the bottom of the ocean.
So do you think these mermaids have a consciousness? Do you think I mean, I guess you could say fish have consciousness. Fish,
I think it's like they're like dolphins to an extent. Like because the mermaids that like when you and I'll say to our listeners, if you haven't looked into this, don't think of mermaids as like a human head. Like they're more like dolphins. They like it's theorized that they speak more with high frequency sonar.
Yeah.
And like they have a bulbous forehead that has the same type of like GPS or sonar
ability.
Yeah, whatever. As dolphins do and whales do. So like you're never gonna like see a mermaid and be able to speak with it or teach it how to speak. Which there's actually legends of people who tried to teach mermaids how to speak, but that mermaid was mute for its entire life on land because their vocal tendencies only work underwater. I mean, I'm just saying, like when you look into it, there's a huge difference between they're more fish than human.
Well, they can come on land.
I don't think real mermaids can come on land.
No, they got to be underwater.
I think that they're sea creatures. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're just the intelligent creature of the sea. You know, that's intelligent and like not that there's not other intelligences in the sea, but more intelligent enough to stay hidden.
Yeah. I mean, and to the point where no one's ever been to like the deepest bottom of the ocean. You can't get down.
The Marianas Trench is the deepest, right?
I guess. You think there's mermaids up in that shit?
People have been down there.
Yeah.
On a few occasions, I believe.
Really?
Two or three. In like deep sea subs.
All right.
You can't see anything. You can only see like you're never gonna like. That's the thing that we'll never be able to unless we like really develop some crazy underwater submarines.
Sweet lights.
Yeah,
some subs. Some like laser beams and shit.
But we discover so many like there's creatures that are coming up from the depths right now because of like ocean pollution that we thought were extinct or we didn't think existed or have never seen.
Yeah, didn't know that they existed. So I mean, it's very well a possibility that you could have.
It wasn't until the 2000s that somebody actually proved that giant squids existed.
Really?
It was they were just a fisherman's tale until
forever.
The 2000s, until like somebody actually took a giant light ball underwater and filmed one.
Like, oh, here it is. So do you think with mermaids then they got the fin, they got the tail fin thing, Do they have like arms, like appendages?
I believe they have arms. Yes.
Okay.
And I believe
they
they
have a
actually,
monkey face.
I believe they fashion tools and things like we
Okay.
would, like we would, you know,
So it's like SpongeBob kind of.
to an extent.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Flipping burgers and shit. Sea patties.
Yeah, Krabby Patties
Yeah.
owned by a crab. Mm-hmm. Were there crabs in Krabby Patties, or was it called Krabby Patty because a crab created it?
We don't really know what the secret ingredient to the Krabby Patty is, Rob. So it very well could be crab.
Or mermaids?
Yeah.
I mean, that would make more sense that fish would eat a human type thing, just like humans eat fish type things.
So do you think mermaids are, if you encounter one, are they a threat? I mean, so in the documentary that we watched, there was like, obviously, because they're not aware of us.
You don't think they're aware of us?
I don't know.
I think they're aware of us and they try and stay hidden from us.
Okay. Well, because the ones when like they were in the sub and there was it was looking in at them or whatever, like kind of like screamed and shit.
Yeah, and I don't know if I believe that those were real or not. Right. I don't know if that was a real video or if that was based on a sighting and they just recreated it.
It's actual footage, it said, I believe.
Yeah. But, okay, the cell phone footage that they showed that they said was actual footage of the kid on the beach.
On the beach? Yeah, that was fucking fake.
That looked fake to me. So that puts all footage in that documentary under suspicion.
Okay.
But I do believe, like, based on what fishermen say, and honestly, fishermen have been saying things like, okay, rogue waves are another one. Fishermen, deep ocean fishermen said rogue waves were a real thing for hundreds of years, thousands of years. As long as they've been fishing on the ocean, and scientists said no, rogue waves are not a thing until somebody finally caught one on tape or on
What do you mean by rogue waves?
Rogue, like the ocean moves in a specific way according to science or whatever. Like so, waves come at certain like. They're working in the same direction, like a ripple effect.
Right.
A rogue wave would be like if you saw if you threw a pebble into the water and you saw all the ripples going one way, a rogue wave goes the opposite way.
Okay.
So like boats have to go into waves as opposed to between waves, because if they go between waves, the crest will overtake them and turn the boat over. So they go through the waves. Rogue waves then like come and they can be like 100 feet. 40, 50 to 100. I think I've heard even bigger than that. Mm-hmm. And a lot of ships have gone down because of these waves or been damaged or whatever, because that's just not how you can't sail boats that way. It's like very dangerous to sail between, like to get hit sideswiped by a wave. Mm-hmm. It's not how a boat's designed. And so fishermen would talk about these rogue waves that they would encounter or see or live through, and it was just like considered a fisherman's tale to science, to mainstream science, until it was filmed, much like the giant squid, which I think we'll find that mermaids are like the same thing.
But they were filmed in that documentary.
Well, okay, so that leads me to this next thing.
Yeah,
I have a friend that
does he listen to this podcast?
I don't think so.
Oh. Is he your friend?
Okay, acquaintance.
No,
he doesn't listen. I can say whatever I want about him.
All right.
No, he lives in Rhode Island and he works for a fishing company. So he goes out on the ocean and fishes, like commercial fishes for tuna or whatever. And he was telling me that his captain caught a mermaid, caught a dead mermaid.
Okay.
And apparently this has happened at least once before, and they were made to throw it back, and he told them that they weren't allowed to tell anybody about it because the government gets highly involved when you bring that stuff up and you have evidence about it.
Really?
Why they would be... I mean, that comes down to the same thing with aliens, okay? Like, if you're somebody that's uber religious, like, can you believe in other intelligent creatures like mermaids or like aliens, because the first line of the Bible is that the earth was created for us and we were made in his image. It's like the first line of the Bible. I don't remember exactly what it is because I'm not a savant like that, but it really like rules out the fact that if you that other things can't be around, because if they are, that means that the Bible is kind of bullshit. I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying like it's hard to believe in those things based on that first line. So and governments definitely work in tandem with religious entities, especially Catholics, and that goes back for a long way. So it's like if you start going, okay, there's this intelligent thing that looks like humans under the ocean. How do you disprove that we evolved from something similar? Like, how do you disprove that? How are you going to say, oh, God made mermaids too? Or like, there are reasons why they want to keep that stuff secret. I don't know if I believe in all that. I don't know if I believe in cover-ups. I want to believe that mermaids are smart enough to just stay out of human, like they don't want to be seen by us because they know that it's not going to be good.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light. And there was light.
Are you sure that's the opening thing of the Bible?
I Googled it. Genesis 1:1. Genesis 1, paragraph 1. I don't know. I never read it.
I feel like I have to look
think
at
that
my
kind of
Bible.
gets down to what you were saying.
I remember when I read this, like, really being like, holy shit, like, now I understand why religious people don't believe in aliens, because
Well, that makes sense.
like, yeah.
This is a strange brew. This isn't a Jesus Juice episode, all right?
I'm not trying to make
just
it that.
kidding.
I'm just saying, like, I'm
Trying to
talking
crack a
about
joke.
why the government might be. This is a strange brew. It's not supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be informative.
Oh, sorry.
It's your show. You should know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the idea of could there be another like an intelligent species in the water that lives as we live, and
Do you think they have wars?
probably.
Yeah. Crazy.
I think anything that thinks and has awareness has opinions, and then therefore has differing opinions from others.
Yeah. So nobody on your buddy's boat or your buddy's where he works, nobody thought to snap a pic?
I haven't. He might have pics. I feel like he might have pics. I'll find out.
Can you send them to us?
I will. I'll get
Through
back.
like an anonymous.
I'll add. I talked to him on through Xbox. So I will ask him about that, because I feel like I brought that up to him, and I feel like he said he did have pics. I'm gonna find out about that.
I would like to
sorry
see it.
I'm really sorry I didn't do that. In
Can I put it on the Instagram if I do? Can you send it to us? And I'll just get in trouble with the government.
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, yes.
So if the government though is trying to shut it down, like trying to like hide the fact that there are legit mermaids, then yeah. Do you think mermaids are just sea aliens? Aliens, like, could they be aliens from outer space that live in some different kind of, they take in a different
lived on a
type,
water planet?
or a water planet, or maybe there's something that maybe water's the only comparable resource that they can take in. You know what I mean?
No, that's why
they live underwater.
There's a lot of like speculation about the fact that UFOs are not just they're not just flying objects. They go underwater.
Yeah.
Then it's in the UFO like communities. It's pretty well believed that there's underwater bases, especially in the Indian Ocean, and especially in the Caribbean.
So those could be mistaken for mermaids then.
Absolutely.
Mermaids could just be fucking aliens, bro.
They definitely could be.
That would explain why the one that got taken up to land was mute, because it didn't communicate, because it wasn't, it didn't have the ability to communicate.
Well, yeah. They're made to communicate in a, like, we live in this like gaseous. We need a gas to survive. Maybe they need a liquid to, that's just how it works for them.
Mm-hmm.
But you could even argue the opposite of like, of the aquatic ape theory. Aliens came here. they were water based. They're what mermaids are. Mermaids are aliens, and then water levels like glaciers froze and water levels receded.
Yeah.
And they slowly worked their way out of the water and became us and apes. Who knows? I don't claim to know, but I don't want to I don't want to say I know that didn't happen.
So we're like aliens?
Yeah, we could have evolved. I kind of do believe that we started off on a different planet.
Like Superman?
Yeah, exactly like Superman.
All right.
Yeah.
Just not as exciting.
I believe like there's a lot of evidence to support that we actually started on Mars and Mars collapsed and we sent a colony here
Relocated.
and and like year by year the more information we find on Mars, it supports that data. Like the elements that you find on Mars are more likely to create life than what we had here, quote unquote, to begin with. I don't know how scientists come up with that, like with those theories or whatever. But now we've found out like there is still liquid water on Mars. There was a lot more water on Mars at one point. The only difference between Mars's atmosphere and our atmosphere is the carbon dioxide, parts per billion or whatever in the atmosphere, which we're like, it's really crazy. And I know that these numbers are wrong, but if we're at two parts per whatever carbon to oxygen, like carbon dioxide to oxygen, whatever mixture, it only has to go up by like two parts per like billion, and then all of a sudden we're like Mars, and the greenhouse gases stay in, and the temperatures go up and everything burns, and
That's what's going to happen with global warming.
yeah, like we are really headed, but it takes a long time because when you're talking about how like an entire
Right.
planet, but it is really like, it's kind of crazy when you look into what the past of Mars could have been, or the differences between Mars and Earth. It's not that big of a difference. It really isn't. It's just
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting, Robert.
It is all interesting. It all comes from thinking about mermaids.
So you think they're real?
I do believe that they're real. I don't believe there's a lot of them. I feel like most things in the sea, they're probably dying out.
You think they're like the Bigfoot of the sea?
Yeah.
They're seen from time to time, but no one has actually like legit evidence.
I don't think we'll ever see evidence. I think they're like a mix. I think, you know how some people think Bigfoot are aliens?
Yeah.
I think it's like that. Like if somebody finds a mermaid, like the men in Pearl come and and take all the evidence away and scare people into silence.
Yeah. I just like, there's got to be something then. Like, that's just so weird. There's got to be something more to them if the government is intervening. There has to be. Because there's no other reason for it then, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's really weird when you look into what governments do based on like what they decide to keep secret and why. I mean, they thought that it was like governments, Britain thought that they had to keep Paul McCartney's death a secret because the world would riot if one of the Beatles was found out to have died. So they covered that up.
You think the world really would have
That's
done
what they thought. That's why they couldn't come out and say Paul McCartney died in 1966.
So this fall McCartney, he's really living the life now, huh?
Yeah.
He performs.
He just lost his identity.
I think he made a pretty good trade, probably.
Probably, yeah, because the Beatles eventually would break up, and he could, he had a
made
foothold.
wings.
He had a foothold in the music industry. He just had to learn how to play left-handed.
You really believe that?
I totally 100%. I believe in that more than I believe in aliens, or more than I believe in mermaids. Like, you might be able to convince me mermaids aren't real, but you will not convince me that Paul McCartney is Paul McCartney.
Why? Because of that documentary?
It just adds up, man.
That documentary on Netflix?
I don't believe in all that conspiracy, like the crazy, Malcolm and his hammer, and or Maxwell, Agent Maxwell, who was whatever.
I don't know. The real Paul McCartney died in a car accident, and it was John Lennon's fault, right? Essentially.
No, it was Paul McCartney's fault.
It was Paul McCartney's? Oh, wasn't it because him and John were feuding?
I don't.
Over
Maybe
some broad or something?
I think it's if
Something like that.
Paul got into a car.
He's a walrus.
While angry and possibly drinking and.
I don't believe that.
You don't have to.
Wouldn't it be over by now? Like, wouldn't... Because Paul McCartney, he sells out stadiums.
Well, that's exactly why it wouldn't be over by now.
Ringo doesn't do shit, and he's an original one. Ringo! But...
Ringo actually has a following. He's a good drummer.
Yeah, he's not selling out at Lambeau Field.
It's true.
Paul McCartney is.
Well, he was beat into submission by Maxwell. No, I don't think Maxwell's real, but George Harrison might have been murdered, and John might have been murdered because of
John Lennon was murdered because some guy read Catcher in the Rye.
Or was it because John was gonna spill the beans on Paul's real identity?
I wanted to kill John Lennon after I read Catcher in the Rye. Had nothing to do with him, but I was like, yeah.
I never read Catcher in the Rye for that reason.
It has nothing to do with... It's such a controversial book. All it is about a kid who just goes rogue, essentially.
Yeah.
He has a Holden Caulfield. He has some weird experiences, and he just says fuck it and bails.
Well, that should teach us. That should teach us a lot.
Yeah,
if they're willing to ban a book that's about that means that they're scared of us doing that.
Maybe.
Lord forbid we like the huddled masses go fuck it.
Some of them are doing that right now.
There's a movement right now to not pay to go exempt on your taxes and then pay instead of paying your taxes weekly with your paycheck.
Yeah.
You go zero, save that money, and then pay your taxes on April 15th or whatever, because that's still like they depend on that money weekly to go and to say, hey, no, you work for us. So which I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
And it's a legal way to say, hey, we pay you to work for us, not the other. You don't get to make all this whatever. You don't get to decide that mermaids don't exist. So
I'm trying to find...
Not paying you to lie to me, government.
Trying to find mermaid sightings. So there's one claimed in Israel 10 years ago, and the picture of it, well, that's just a statue. It's more just like people talking about. There's $1 million reward, similar to like that of
the Bigfoot,
the Loch Ness Monster. No, of mermaids.
Oh, Bigfoot has a reward out there. I thought too.
Really?
I don't know. Seems like some big game hunter wants him on.
Some sick fuck would. Yeah. Just leave him alone.
Yeah.
Leave him alone. Well, you seem to know a lot about mermaids, Rob.
I think I failed our listeners.
Why?
Because I didn't.
The fuck?
Mermaids, they're interesting though. I think the lore is more interesting, but to me, it's like how many pieces of quote unquote folklore that it's like from times of antiquity and prehistory that has orally translated into our cultures today need to be proven to be true, which a lot have been.
Yeah.
A lot of folklore has we've found its roots in truth through archaeology or through actual papers or actual documents. So when I hear a bunch of different areas of the world having similar folklores, I just my brain is all I'm on board for it. It's I think it's real because I don't think people in that far back were stupid. I don't think they just made up stories to make up stories. I feel like they made up they told stories that
they told the tales of the land.
Yeah, that's how they that was stories were everything to those people because that was their history. That's how they lived on. That's how
All right.
That was their podcast. That was their Dudes with Brews.
Yeah, and maybe maybe there's an underwater podcast right now.
I'd love to believe that too.
Yeah,
I think the coolest thing to me about the idea of mermaids is they'd be like us if we flew. Could you imagine if human beings just were flying around?
Wouldn't that be something?
Because technically, if you can swim in the ocean and you live in the ocean, like all fish are like birds, and crabs are more like humans than anything else because they can't,
Yeah.
I like the idea of that when you're like, they have no idea we're space to them. We're outer space.
Sure.
Like they can't come up here and breathe, but they get to fly down there. It's amazing. I wish I could fly like that. Give me some tail and.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mermaids.
Mermaids, check it out. Look into it. It's interesting.
Real interesting.
And this must be a short episode because I normally finish more of my beer.
45 minutes.
Oh, I've really been slacking.
You were just talking a lot.
I guess so.
You're jaw jacking. I ran another half marathon this last Sunday.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I ran to Oshkosh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't do it, but
I ran through 3 cities, technically.
you can count Van Dyne.
Yeah. I do. Van Dyne's a nice little town, dude.
Yeah,
That's
what's it got there? McGinty's or something?
They got
What's
some
that-
meat
what's that?
market or something. I've never been there before.
I used to go there and play pool. There's a little place there that they'll make a pizza there for you.
You play pool, huh?
They're a little convenience store that sells beer, pizza, and has a pool table.
That's cool. Yeah, like I
It's
ran.
not McGinty's.
I ran
Something
through
like
it.
that, though.
Geezy's, I think.
Geezy's, that's it. Yep.
I ran through it, and I was looking around, and I was like, "This is a nice little quaint town. I like it."
It's not bad in Van Dyne, yeah.
Yeah, and I ran through.
I was thinking about because when I bike past Van Dyne.
Yeah,
It's a nice bike ride out through North Fondy, through the country out there, through Van Dyne, and then I've definitely hit the outskirts of Oshkosh many times on my bike.
yeah. I ran to Matt's house.
I don't know where Matt lives.
He lives right off
In Oshkosh,
right
I
off
imagine.
45 in Oshkosh.
Nice.
He lives about 13 miles from here. So I had to run a little bit down his block a little bit.
So did you run back?
No, I ran to his house, and then Carissa was kind enough to. So Carissa was in the car. Like I left before,
She was just following you at 5 miles an hour.
kind of. I was running, and then she left later, and then she drove down. She knew the path I was going, and she had all the water bottles for me. She was my water person, and she would go like a mile out, and then I would run, and then I would see her car, and then I'd give her like a symbol of I need water, or like no,
Yeah.
I'm good. I didn't drink water till like mile 10 or so.
Nice.
So wow, maybe that might be maybe mile 8, but
I learned 2 new tricks on my skateboard.
yeah. I was gonna ask you still skateboarding? Still skating?
Yeah, I backside 180 this pretty sweet gap first try.
Yeah, can you explain that to someone who doesn't know what that is?
That's an easy trick, but over a gap,
Oh,
it's
okay,
nice.
Asshole.
It's just a 180.
What's a 180?
It's
You
ollie
maneuver.
It's an ollie maneuver where you spin around 100.
Well, what's an ollie?
An ollie is like a jump
Okay.
where the board stays on your feet. Now, the
Okay.
tricks I learned was a half cab heel flip, front side and back side.
What was that?
It's popping with the front of your board and doing a 180 and a heel flip. So flipping the board with your heel instead of your toe.
Okay.
And then land like so you start switch but on the front of the board, which is fakie.
Nobody knows what that means.
Yeah, well, you told me to explain it. It's like writing with your left hand if you're right-handed. It's popping.
Yeah.
That's what switch is. But that was a bad way to start this. Bad metaphor. Either way, you pop with the front of your board, do a 180 and a heel flip, and I can do it front side and back side, which means spinning to the left or to the right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you see Tony Hawk Pro Skaters getting remastered 1 and 2?
I heard something about that.
Yeah, they're releasing in September, so you can play on Xbox and PlayStation. And I'm gonna fucking get it. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Tony Hawk 2 was a good game.
Tony Hawk 1's a good game. Good soundtrack.
I knew you'd like the soundtrack.
What do you mean?
But you don't like the Doors.
The soundtrack to Tony Hawk Pro
I'm just
Skater-
going to tell you and the listeners that last week's episode will not soon be forgotten by me.
The Doors suck.
No.
The soundtrack to Tony Hawk Pro Skater is
it's good.
It introduced me to punk rock. I was in 5th grade.
I never got it. Like, it probably introduced me to it as well, but I was not. My cousins probably did. But I still, it wasn't for me. It's still not for me.
I loved it.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And I still do. And there's a lot of other bands better than the Doors.
No.
Fuck Jim Morrison.
This episode's over.
Okay, we drink Great Lake Brewing Company's Conway's Irish Ale, an Irish style ale. If you didn't know, Rob, do you say drink it or dump it?
Definitely drink it. It's a straight up beer, but it's good.
Yeah, it's a beer you can kick back, relax, and put down and enjoy with some friends and have a discussion about mermaids.
Yep.
So
Or listen to one guy jabber on about mermaids.
Hey, don't listen to us. Do your own research and give us your conclusions and email us at dudesonaporch@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at Dudes on a Porch. Hit us up on Facebook, Dudes with Brews on a Porch. Untapped, Dudes with Brews, I think. You just got to look that up and they'll be on there. We're also on Instagram, Dudes with Brews Pod. On all those things.
I don't know how you keep that stuff straight.
Follow us, subscribe, rate, review, tell your friends.
Come game with me. Covert Burt 184 on Xbox.
Dudes with Brews on PlayStation 4. I rarely play, but hey.
Is that really your handle?
Yeah.
That's awesome. This guy's a marketing master.
That's be my friend. I don't play too often, but hey, if you want to play Dead by Daylight, I'm really into that game.
Can you cross-platform that game?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I think the problem is, so they released it on mobile, and I downloaded it, and I've been playing the shit out of it.
Dude, that game's awesome.
My problem is,
but I can never find anybody to play with.
Exactly. That's my problem. I was like,
it's so much funner in a group.
I got into it years too late. And now no one wants to fucking play it.
See, I got into it when Trevor and Ryan and those guys were playing it. But as always, because I was an adult and they were not yet there, by the time I had the money to spend on a video game,
they were over it.
I got about 3 days of playing it with them before they found a new video game, which was just enough time for me to really like it and then not have anybody.
Well,
to
I
want
to play, I want to buy some of the characters. Like, I want to play as Michael Myers. I want to play as the Scream guy. I want to play as some of these other killers. But you gotta buy it.
I don't like playing as the killer.
I love playing as the killer. I love playing as the killer. It's fun. But
play Hellblade. Do you have Hellblade on PlayStation?
No. What's that?
Play. It's like you learn about. I know that this is probably going to turn you off to it. But you learn about Nordic mythology as you play through the game. But it's a puzzle combat game. And it's seriously one of the cool. It's my favorite game, hands down, no doubt about it. Anybody who has a gaming system and likes linear story games, play Hellblade. It's so good. The end, every time I play it I've played through it like 4 times. Chills down my spine as you play the last part of it. It amps me up, and it's such a good game. It's such a good game.
Okay. I believe you.
I can't explain it.
Borderlands 3, is that cross-platform?
I don't know. Do you have Warzone? This is a conversation maybe for off mic.
I deleted it.
Really?
I suck at it. I suck. To the point where I will never get better because this is the first Call of Duty game I have ever played. I've watched.
I'm in the same boat, but I got 4 kills the other day.
Yeah, that's good. I've gotten like.
You
4
should
kills
play
one
with
time.
me and Noah and Ryan and Trevor. Trevor can't. His Xbox broke.
I just deleted it.
You should reinstall.
It's like 100. It takes like fucking 9 hours.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they don't want to hear about this.
Okay.
But they should come and game with us.
Be our friends.
Yeah.
We'll talk. Eventually, we have other plans for Dudes with Brews. We're gonna get a Twitch channel.
I'm writing a short film that Drew's gonna star in.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. So there's things in the works. It's just a matter of money. We got to get the money for the stuff that we need. So if you want to provide some of that money, you can buy our merch on Teespring. I think. No. Teespring? TeePublic.
TeePublic.
TeePublic. Ooh. Okay. So
honestly, the merch is awesome.
I agree.
I have some of it, and I would even if I didn't, I wasn't on the show. I love that sweatshirt.
It's a good one.
So, it's the best sweatshirt I have, and I paid top dollar for a limited edition Astonishing Legends sweatshirt. Nowhere near as comfortable or well fitting as ours.
Yeah, that's right. So cool. We'll see you next week for more Jib Jab.
Yeah.
Pew pew. audio. Goodbye, everyone.